One of the beauties and the downfalls, I suppose, of Aboriginal culture is that it is oral, so it's beautiful because it's oral and it's written and it's those shared stories. So when people and elders do pass, we do lose it.
One of the major things about all these stories was about values and principles. Because we didn't get our values and principles from anywhere else apart from the stories that they tell, whether it's the humble story about the magpie or whether it's the humble story about Gadia from Boobra Lagoon, or the Yarandu, which talks about the righteous man, or the three brothers and the seven sisters and how our relationships and how we look after one another, or maybe even the story about the Goanna, that shows us strength, Wallingbar, or it might be something else, the black cockatoo, the Ballad. And the Ballad is very important because he teaches us all about how we should behave as people, how we should always take people in, look after people, and look for nothing in return. Because in return, something gets given to us. And the story about the Ballad is a very important story because it teaches us that, no matter who we are, and our people have done it for hundreds of years. They've taken people in that they don't even know. They provide them with shelter, food, water, a place to stay, and expected nothing in return. And these stories throughout all these things are exactly the same. And inside each story, there's another story. But we don't get the second story until we get a bit older and our body and our mind matures, and then we sort of think, that was a little story back when I was a kid, but now it's here. It means something else. And as you go further through life, the story within the story changes, and we bring that forward with us to take on our journey through life. And all these things are very, very important. So when we're talking about language, we try to put everything into context. The language with the story, with the place, the geographical place.
Gaay Guumaldanha, Wallabagan Yani Winungala, Yamba Murray, Marumala, Ngali Down. We know that these words are special. We know that these words are powerful. We know that these words that we speak from our language hold our identity. They hold our soul. They hold the connection that we have to this country and the connection that we have to our families. And the more we speak it, the stronger we get. And there's no denying that. Right now, all of us meeting up to talk about language is proof that the more that we talk our language, the stronger we get.
The language, the Gamilaroi. I know nothing about my culture. I know we mark trees and all that. We use the word mubbly and this and that, but that's all I knew. I didn't know anymore, But when I was growing up, people weren't, they say they're Lawinga side. Is that right? That was a policy for our people where it was forbidden for them to speak language. Was it Lawinga side? Well, I've done a reclamation of our language, dance and culture through what I've done. And I perform in a prison cell. And I've done a piece called 2.5 and it's in a prison cell. So I chose 100 words from our language and then I went about creating a dance step for that language. Now, for example, it's not like me, a kangaroo, hopping around in a kangaroo, but I look at the animal, I look at the characteristics of a red kangaroo. I look at a bird. If a bird is startled in flight, well, I do a jump like that.
Our next animal is a kangaroo, okay? And what a lot of people don't know is that the female kangaroo can determine the sex of a baby. If there's too many boy kangaroos, she can start having girls. That was part of nature, beautiful part of nature. Okay, kangaroo, here goes. Hop, 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 hop. Ready? Millen, bullard, gullibar. Moon, 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 moon. Fishy, 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 fishy. Boogly, 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 boogly. Bo, 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 bo. Hop, 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 hop. Okay. I want you to count with me. Everyone say Millen. Bullard. Gullibar. Okay, you can do it.
Some of the stuff that we take our kids out in the field with, we teach them about the yabba, the turtle, the modified trees, the scar trees, and the hearths, the Narran hearths they're incredible at Narran. If you ever get an opportunity, get up to Narran and have a look at some of the archaeology there. It is wonderful. The black swans, the nestings. If you haven't eaten a black swan egg, you haven't lived, seriously. Yabbies, we get into the Ingas and the Naru. We try to eat some of these things with the kids out there too, so they get a taste of the flavour of it. And we provide them with the not only the botanic names and stuff like that, but we also try to go into our cultural knowledge too. Some of the kids get right into it.
I want to show you how to do something with lamandra. So do you want to make something like this? Yeah. All right. I just want you to go get a bit of lamandra, go to the plant and go right in and pull the bottom of it. Come back with a bit of lamandra. We've done a Connect in the Country program at a wetlands, and they do this with kids in schools, and it just makes them relax a bit more. So I would recommend do it with Bros Speak or Sister Speak. Or if you're taking kids out in the bush, if you have a bush garden or a sitting area in your school, or if you've got a kid that's not concentrating, I would recommend it. So then what you do is you get the one on the outside, and then you go over, under, over, under. Then when you get to the end, you flip it over. Then when you run out, you get the end one, and you do the same thing. It doesn't look right at the first, but then when you keep doing it and you push it up, it looks really good.
So I'm here just because I'm a musician who has started to work with young artists and encourage them in their songs to add some language. And last year was the first time I had written a song in language. Are we here for the revival of language? I think it's relevant because there's a certain role and responsibility that we all must play in the revival of our language and our culture. And part of that role and responsibility requires each and every one of us to take a good look at ourselves, to understand how we are and how our actions may affect how effectively we can have our culture shine.
Language is actually the tool for us learning that. So when we say we need to look after language, it's also looking after us. It's giving us what we need. It's showing us you need to deal with that one, but you also need to do things on a community level, outside of organisations. It's telling us that for us to be successful and have little kids speaking language fluently, we need to do things 2 ways or 3 ways, not just one. So language is teaching us that, as well as us learning the physicality of it as well.
I think it's emphasised to me the importance of language and the importance of culture and the reconnection.
The Kamilaroi Culture Nest over the last 3 days has been a really positive meeting, I think, bringing all of us, people involved with language, together to talk about what we want to do for the future, and learning from each other's experiences. I think it's really positive. There's going to be great things coming from this, I hope.
If I'm as far along as I would like to be by this time next year, I'd love to present and show the progress. Yeah.
Until the next time I say yellow, but for now it's bundle and Yanaya Bama Bri, Yanaya Bama Bri. Which basically means see you later and walk with God, go with God.
Hi,